Everybody, Miss Spooky. Oh, so I haven't been on in a while. Um, just been kind of off the radar and um, paranoid, paranoid about everything that's going on. Just waiting for, shoe to drop or something. Something is gonna happen, right? Well, Um, you know how I'm into conspiracy theories and stuff. If you read my blog, you know that I'm into conspiracy theories and stuff. But, it's the things that turn into reality that really freaking freak me out, okay? So CPS, Child Services, Department of Health and Human Services, um, are stealing babies. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else to put it, okay? They're stealing kids, all right? And I'm in Oregon, and it's a really common problem here. Medical kidnapping. Just a couple of months ago, a blind couple in Klamath Falls, I think, had CPS threatening them to take their kids because they're blind. Okay. Um, Another case in Texas where a teenager went to grandma's meddling with the family. Next thing you know, cops and CPS are there, and the mother is deaf and doesn't understand what's going on. Rummage through the house, find a pot pipe, and boom, her kids are gone. In Washington, a mother had her kids taken away for failing to culture them because they're Native American, and she was not. And so she was raising her kids outside of their heritage, and boom, her kids are gone. Um, Kids taken while a mother was in the hospital. Kids taken because a parent is disabled. One woman's children were taken because she was epileptic. A history of depression, taking opioid medications, if you smoke marijuana, when you take your kid into the emergency room, if they have an injury, schools, they will call CPS if your child is acting up. Um, on and on and on and on and on and on and on with stories. Story after story, they're attacking um, veterans' families for a parent having PTSD. They very common will, if a woman or a man goes to services for domestic violence, CPS will be called. That happens a lot. They will remove a victim of domestic violence. They'll remove the children from both parents because they've witnessed domestic violence. Um, it it's it's endless. They will remove an infant from the mother in the delivery room if she has a history of CPS. Um, so I find it kind of ironic that everyone is screaming and crying about the immigrants on the border being ripped from their parents' arms when this kind of crap is happening right now. It's happening now. It's happening right here. Children are being removed from their homes. 3 million children are in foster care in this country right now. 1 in 3 children in foster care will be physically or sexually abused. Okay? 84% of people on death row were in foster care. That's crazy. That's crazy. And what happens is when these kids finally get adopted out, which they force adoptions, by the way, they get adopted out, and then they're never heard from again. Foster parents in Oregon alone, 44 kids were killed in foster care, and double that number of foster parents or people who were associated with the foster system were arrested on abuse charges. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. These families are being um, abused incredibly. Not to mention these kids. I mean, it, it's horrifying, absolutely horrifying. And I just can't even believe what's going on. I just can't, and it freaks me out. And I seen this firsthand. A friend of mine had her kids taken away. The CPS worker actually colluded with an Indian reservation across to the other side of the country and arranged for a child to be abducted and taken out of the state. And so I seen it with my own eyes. And it's absolutely horrifying, really, really horrifying. And, you know, what you, I want to say, first of all, to people that the stigma is that if you get your kids taken away, then you must have done something really bad. You must have really fucked up to have something like that happen to you. And I'm telling you that that is not the case. That's not true. And people had their kids taken away pretty much for everything. And the target is obviously poor families, okay, because they can't afford the attorneys to fight back, okay, and it kind of is going against like nature because somebody's gonna fight like hell for their kids. I mean, you're gonna fight to the death for your fucking kids, and they're making these people jump through hoops and making them quit their jobs, making them get divorced, making them move away. Um, the one with one of the ones with epilepsy, they deliberately moved the child 3 hours away or 5 hours, I don't remember, knowing full well that she wasn't able to drive to go and see her kids. And the non custodial abusive parent was, they subsidized for him to get transportation, but not her. This shit happens all the time. I'm telling you, and the other one is, family members. They go and they call CPS and, against their kids. One grandmother, concerned mother, called the cops in CPS because she was concerned because her daughter refused to go to a gynecologist appointment for her hormones. So she called CPS and thinking that she's going to get the kids, and that's not the way it goes anymore. They're not placed with family members, people. Okay? At least they might be at first, but once they are a ward of the state, they're they, they belong to the state. Okay, they can be shipped anywhere, and a lot of times that's what happens is they get shipped around foster home and the foster home, and eventually they're moved around so much that they lose track of them, and they go missing. And trafficked, gone, and never seen, never heard from again, and because they disappear in the system. So I'm telling you that family members and stuff like that, all you drama people that call the cops on everybody, God, I'm not involved with shit like that. But if you do that, if you think it's cool to call the police on your ex or call the police on your kid or whatever, your sister, or I'm gonna call CPS on you, even you kids, okay, thinking that that is gonna solve everything. No, they're gonna get involved in your life and they are going to control your life and they're going to take your kids. A lot of times they'll drug these kids. Children who are in foster care system are 13 times more likely to be on some kind of a psychotropic medication. So it's not a joke, okay? And if you can avoid it, leave CPS out the fuck of your life, okay? They're not your friends. They're not to help you. They're not about helping kids. That's the truth. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't children who are being abused. I'm not saying that. I realize there's kids out there that live in total hell and need somebody to interfere. And I get that. I get that. But that's not what's going on at all. They are targeting kids, they're targeting them. And now we have from higher up, federal Department of Health and Human Services has the home visiting program for infants, and that is taking place in Oregon as we speak. So, if you are pregnant and you are having a baby, your their rights, you don't have any rights, okay? These people are going to step in. They are casing families. They are figuring out what children they want. Don't be stupid. That's what's going on. It's not helping anyone. You know, I can only think and I can only imagine that what is, gonna happen, because since this is rampant, okay? It's happened in California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona. Very, very bad for it. Texas, Ohio, Massachusetts, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Illinois. It goes on and on. It's all over the country. And I don't understand why it's been swept under the rug so long. Yeah, I do. Nancy Schaefer was killed in 2007 because she spoke out against this bullshit, and she ended up getting killed. So they have to do this border wall thing and ripping the children from their mother's arms and all of this focus on the children at the wall, at the border, and it's because this is the shit that's going on. This is why. If they didn't have the crisis at the border, this would be more of an issue. This would be like, what's going on with CPS? How come all of these kids are in foster care? What the fuck's going on? And I'm not really sure that they would care because this is all about money anyway. Every child on average $9,000 a month to pay for a kid, one child to be in foster care. And even more for adoption, 37,000 plus. So they're targeting these kids. Not only that, but a lot of them, and the majority of them, are white, poor children. White. And I'm not saying that there's no black children or Mexican children being stolen, because it does happen. Although they had a higher percentage of being murdered. So, yeah, yeah. And when I started to see that there was a pattern with a lot of these children being white, and in particular, and especially the newborns, and that were taken from the hospitals, all they're white, and when I brought this up to some of the families in the message boards and stuff like that, I got shut down because nobody wants to talk about that. And I don't understand why, because it seems to me that if there is a pattern like I'm starting to see, wouldn't somebody want to know about that? Like, you're you now you're starting to talk their language, you know what I mean? And so if there is a pattern going on, and if they are targeting white babies, then don't you think that that would be, I don't know, easier to fight in court, since now you're talking their language? It seems like it. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Nobody wants to discuss that, but it seems to me, and from what I've seen, and some of the families that I've talked to and that I've read about, that's what's going on. And every just about every single constitutional right is being violated by what CPS is doing to families. Just about everyone. Everything from their uh, gag orders to not be able to talk about this. The reason why you don't hear about it is because these families are under gag orders not to talk about it, not allowed to record conversations, not allowed to defend themselves and to fight for their own kids. To not being able to have a gun, to illegal search and seizure of medical records and phone calls and property and their kids, not being able to face their accusers, these anonymous phone calls that they go off of with no proof and no evidence whatsoever. And what about removing a child from their home with no proof whatsoever that anything has been done wrong? What about stripping that kid, that child, of their memories, of their identity, of their family? And for what? For what? A lot of money. A lot of money. I'm hoping, and there's a lot of information out there on the internet, but what needs to be done is some lawyers out there need to get some fucking balls, stop kissing these judges' asses, and start standing up for the right thing. Do you know how much money can be won against Child Protective Services and other organizations like that if you could just go to court, have some fucking balls, and take these people to court and prove that there are frauds, or that they are deliberately kidnapping kids, drugging them, abusing them? Where's the law in this? Where is it? Where? So if you're a lawyer and you are siding with judges and family courts and CPS with no evidence whatsoever, tearing apart families and ruining children's lives instead of doing the right thing, then you are a total jackass. And you shouldn't be a fucking lawyer. It's just bullshit. There needs to be more attorneys out there that are willing to step up and fight what's going on, because it's totally bullshit. Completely. So, I don't know. I encourage you to go. Facebook has some um, groups that you can browse around on. Um, Legal kidnapping, medical kidnapping, and start browsing around and getting some education and seeing how rampant this is, the legal kidnapping and abuse of American children, because it's something is very wrong. This is a very, very serious problem. Very, 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 very serious. I would say that it's the number one problem of this country that nobody is talking about. You are not seeing your senators or your congressmen talking about this because they're scared. Just like these parents are scared. How unnatural is it for a parent to have to jump through hoops and be so afraid of fighting for their own kids because of retaliation and abuse that these organizations commit on these families? And no one is talking about it. Nobody. So I encourage you, look this stuff up and, you know, stand up. Stand up for these families. And if you're a lawyer, get some fucking balls. Okay? Get some balls. And start doing the right thing. Because it really could be anybody, you know? Sooner or later, how much money you have isn't really going to matter if they want your fucking kids. So, yeah. Anyway, rant over. Thanks for listening. Have a spooky day.